What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to yet another Spotlight On interview. We have the beautiful and talented Cristina Ochoa in studio today, live. All the questions, everything you've ever wanted to know. She's beautiful and a genius, so we're going to confirm all of that right now. Stick with us, guys. We'll see you in just 1 second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh yeah, we didn't even ask you what song you wanted to open on. It's just silent. It's just silent. But this is your chance if you want to like acapella something, whatever your song is.
Oh gosh, I can't sing to save my life, so thankfully no. But I hear you're a singer-songwriter, so why don't you do it?
Oh no, on the spot. No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll enjoy the silence. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting that we got you in here after I made an ass of myself interviewing on the red carpet when I was like, you were on Naked and Afraid. You were like, no, that was just my Instagram, dude. Thanks. I wasn't really on the show.
But I liked that you did your research. You know, you found it somewhere.
Yeah,
so there you go.
It's a good moment. It's a good moment.
It's a fact check.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to talk about so many exciting things that are happening in your career. You're blowing up right now. Animal Kingdom. Apparently, your huge sex scene tonight just was premiering as we were walking in, right? The world's seeing it right now.
Yes, the world is seeing it right now.
Yeah, your Twitter's going crazy.
Yeah, let's let's move on from the sex scene.
Right.
There are plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
You told me your family can't watch the show. They struggle with it.
Well, they're in Spain, so they actually don't really have access right now to the show.
Got it.
So I just kind of tell them what I want them to know. You know, I'll tell them, Ren is a surfer girl, and you know, she I don't know.
Spin the positive.
She's Craig's girlfriend.
Kinda.
You know, they love each other very much.
In moments. Yeah.
Intensely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will see it eventually, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
as of right now, I get to kind of spin it the way I want them.
Well, you were like, so, I mean, you do have those scenes, but you're in 5 episodes. So you have, like, you're like a real character. I mean, you actually have, and tonight, from what I understand, you have some good scenes tonight, right?
Tonight we have some great scenes. Tonight was, because we do block shoots for Animal Kingdom, and they're all location-based. Tonight's episode is actually the first one that we shot, of my character at least.
Got it.
So it wasn't episode 2, which we've already seen. It was, you know, episode 4. And there's some really juicy, great stuff. You know, hopefully the hi, I'm a stranger, nice to meet you today on set doesn't show. So.
Right. Sure, yeah, never does.
I don't think it will.
So before we continue down this whole, I want to hear the whole story of how you came from being, you're Mensa, right? You're actually super intelligent. I want to hear the whole story.
Awkward.
Science to being an actress, and you just booked the lead on a new show. There's so much to talk about. So where can the people find you as we're talking if they want to know on Twitter? Where can they find you?
On Twitter, they can find me on at Christina_Ochoa.
Okay.
And on Instagram, I got in it late, so it was like Ochoa Cristina, all one word.
Oh, really? It's opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's
I wasn't able to get the same handle for both. It kind of sucks.
That's
yeah.
brutal. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So jumping around. So the Animal Kingdom now, and you just booked Blood Drive on Sci-Fi, right?
Yes.
Like a week ago or something like that?
It was announced a week ago. I found out maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
But it's a really exciting time. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate that these shows have kind of come into my life at the time that they have, and I think that, you know, working on Animal Kingdom set up the stage for me to kind of move into something like Blood Drive.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be so badass.
Really?
It's gonna be so good.
What so it's like sort of like Grindhouse style? Is that kind of what I was reading?
Yeah, it's a Grindhouse genre.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on Sci-Fi, but it's Mad Max meets Hunger Games meets Grindhouse meets, I mean, it's out there. It's definitely, you know, crazy and pushing boundaries when it comes to TV. There really is nothing like it. And it's so well written. So James Rowland, who created the show, has amazing, you know, producers, and John Lavin, and you have David Straighten, who's directing the first 2 episodes, is also a producer. You have this amazing team, and something that I think is going to surprise and hopefully really engage the fans.
Well, it's cable, and now with the way we're like pushing TV, there's like the boundaries you're talking about and pushing boundaries. I mean, there's almost like no boundaries left on TV, so it feels like you can kind of get away with anything. Are you gonna be like a total badass? Are you gonna like wield weapons and the whole?
Yeah,
Are
total
you Mad
badass.
Max basically?
I'm like the Furiosa character.
Oh, sweet.
Sort of. I know. I still can't believe it, and I can't process. We leave for South Africa to shoot there in a week and a half.
Yeah.
and there's stunt driving school, and there's fight choreography for a couple of weeks before we start principal photography. So it's gonna be, I'm stoked. I mean, I get to fight and kick some ass, and I get to kick Alan Richson's ass, particularly. So it's great.
Unbelievable. That's so exciting. I mean, Mad Max was like the big hit, sci-fi kind of movie of the year this last year. And there's just so much now in the media with positive representation of females on television and movies. So many strong characters. I mean, it feels like, I almost feel like it's like it's very redundant the amount people talk about it now, because it's so everywhere right now. I mean, look at Game of Thrones, and no spoilers to anybody. What just happened? Do you watch?
I mean, it's Tuesday. I think at this point, if they've gone on social media, it's been spoiled.
Because I didn't even watch it until yesterday, the whole thing. I caught 9 and 10 yesterday, and I managed to make it the whole week without anything being ruined for me.
You did not? Really?
I'm dead serious, yeah.
Wow. What'd you think?
Oh, my, are you kidding?
It's amazing.
Amazing. Like, the 9 and 10 might be like the best bookend 2 episodes of TV I've ever watched. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah.
But in any case, I mean, you look at what's happened there, and just like the female characters are all so good. I mean, Arya and Sansa. And you have, and the Iron Island, we were just talking about Game of Thrones now, but
but because it's so good.
Yeah, but you're in this great place where you get to be another one of these strong female characters on television. So that's really exciting.
And I think that's something that's been happening. I know that during pilot season, when I was reading all these scripts and Animal Kingdom came around, and characters, regardless of if they're leads or they're supporting or they're recurring or they're guest stars, female characters are now given the same amount of dedication and complexities and nuances that the male characters were given before. So women are no longer supportive roles in that sense, where they're not just adding information to the male characters. They actually, I mean, in Animal Kingdom, Smurf is queen. She is Queen Bee. She's alpha and omega. It starts and ends with her. So it's one of those things where it's like I love watching it, and then from an actor's perspective, it's so nice to have those characters so flushed and written so well.
Well, even in your scenes with Craig in the episodes I have seen already, where you're selling him drugs and he's sort of like, I'm good for it. It feels like your character very much controls the scene. You're wearing the pants in that relationship at that moment.
She definitely wrangles Craig, and I think that she controls and manipulates him, but without maybe coming across as that. I think that there's definitely love underlying that relationship and like a playfulness.
Right.
They've been doing this for a really long time. The backstory is they've been together since maybe high school. They're not, they're not exclusive, obviously. Like he, as you saw in the pilot, he definitely sleeps around, and so does she.
Right.
But they have a connection and a friendship, and I mean, all of these boys have some kind of bizarre relationship, Oedipus complex with their mother. Yes. Obviously. Everyone. So it kind of makes sense that, Craig would slightly be more connected to a woman who also kind of runs the show. Yeah, well, with last we saw, I mean, and it's so exciting, you get to do this, and then you're coming on to do the after show with us as well. Yes. So I can't wait, because we have so many questions to ask you. But oh gosh, I mean, just like the way the episode last week ended with Pope. So creepy, so many questions. We all just were like, he was like crawling into the bed, and we were all just like, oh no, I can't even watch this. Is Pope not one of the best written characters? I mean, and Sean Hattie kills it on that. I would be so surprised if he didn't earn nominations all around for this performance, because he crushes it. I told him that. I was talking to him, and I was like, it's nothing against Speedman. I was like, Speedman's great. He's the square jawed, really attractive male lead. He's level headed. But I was like, you're the Emmy guy. He's like, oh, I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that stuff. But it's totally true. He's so modest, and he's so humble, and he's the sweetest person on the planet. Yeah. Just like such a sweet family man, and you see him with his kids, and then he turns it on to kind of be Pope, and then you're like, oh God, that's creepy. And so weird. Can you curse on this? Can I? Yeah, I think we can. We have to call it explicit. It's so effed up. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, but it's great. And just wait to see Baz. Like he has a lot of storylines that kind of come in that show new levels of his character. So yeah, I guess what I mean with that is like you think about various shows, there's always the sort of like the Jack on Lost, or the Rick on Walking Dead, where it's like, if you do get to see those characters develop into these like crazy caricatures themselves, it takes a long time. Right. Whereas the supporting guys, your John Locke's or your characters like your Carols, they get a lot more freedom to kind of from the very beginning just be a little weirder, and because they don't have to be that. Like, there's that thing when people watch mainstream television, they want that like moral compass, so to speak. The character has to kind of exist right in that where you kind of are with them, and
you're never really against them.
Yeah.
They can't really push you too hard in one direction because they have to lead the show. They have to anchor the whole thing. So.
Yeah, and the great thing about, I think, Animal Kingdom and the way that the Johns, so John Wells and Jonathan Lisco, have planned a little bit around this family and the storyline is that you do get to see the family through Jay's eyes. So he's kind of like the audience's perspective, walking into this crazy Cody family dynamic.
Right.
You know, so that's a really interesting, and I think that probably the audience will connect immediately with Jay and kind of his perspective on things as things change and move. And
well, it's pretty exciting. I mean, you're on network television doing Animal Kingdom now. You have this other show you're about to go start filming. So let's jump back for a second because I want to kind of know where this all came from because I've heard you in interviews already do the thing where you're like, I have this story about why I got into acting and it's an amateur theater workshop. But even beyond that, I mean, you and I have something in common in that we both have an ancestor that won a Nobel Prize. So, but yours wasn't for acting or anything like that. It wasn't for
the
anything.
Nobel in acting.
Yeah, nothing in performance. It was.
No, he won the Nobel in medicine. So it's Nobel Prizes the 2 years, obviously. So 59 to 61, for his work in discovering triplets and DNA.
Okay.
And he's the pride and joy of the family. I mean, it's a legacy that we will always carry, that we feel very honored, as I'm sure you do.
Yes, absolutely.
So what about your ancestor? What?
It was 1998, and his name is Robert Furchtgott, and he won in medicine and physiology for a discovery with nitric oxide. The short answer is that my grandpa invented Viagra. That's the, that's the like.
Okay, you win. Okay, you win. You win.
New York Times front page was like Robert Furchtgott, love doctor, wins Nobel Prize. But it was like a discovery for a laboratory, and then the patent got bought in this whole story. But in any case, my point is obviously having that in your family and having it in medicine. I'm sure performance wasn't the first thing when you were growing up that came to mind for you.
I came into this acting world really late. My background is in oceanography, and I was always like the shark girl.
You were like raising sharks, right?
And raising sharks, and that's really what I wanted to do my whole life. I mean, I didn't know how to verbalize it even at the beginning when I was 3 or 4, and I'd be like, I want to be a Little Mermaid vet, or I didn't know what it was. But that was kind of like I was very focused and just wanted to do that. And then, like you said, that story that I kind of just regurgitate and tell all the time, which is like, took an amateur theater class, fell in love with it. I was 25 at that point, so it was a little bit late to the game compared to a lot of people that come to LA because they've been in their high school drama classes or they've had this artistic pull their whole life. But I kind of, it filled up something that I didn't know I was really lacking in.
Right.
And then I did it, and it was the most fun I'd ever had. And I thought, man, if I could actually have my job be the thing that makes me the happiest, why not try it?
Sure. And you were born in Spain, right?
Born and raised in Spain.
So how long did you go to school in Spain for before you came to the States?
Well, I graduated in Spain from high school. So I studied my whole life there, and then I moved to the Canary Islands, which is technically Spanish territory.
Sure.
And I started university there, and then I went to Australia for the last 2 years before coming here.
Cool.
And then, kind of deciding to swap one shark for another.
Sure. And I told myself, I was like, you're going to remember the class, the rays and sharks. It's like there's
elasmobranchiology.
That's the one. Yeah. Elasmobranchiology. I was like, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to write. If I write this down, it's not good because I'm going to look down at the sheet when I say it, and it's not going to be worth it. So now I just outed myself. But.
Surprisingly, it didn't really help me much with auditions.
Sure.
I mean, who would have thought?
Still waiting for the day.
Yeah, I still. Every once in a while, like I'll walk into an audition and I'll try and be very analytical with it. Doesn't help. I'll try and find the formula on like, how to book this job if I really want it, or how to break down material. Doesn't help.
You gotta meet James Cameron because you're gonna walk in and you've seen Aliens of the Deep, right?
Yes.
You gotta walk in and be like, let me just tell you, man. And then he's gonna be like, let's talk, let's get dinner. I just want to pick your brain.
Let's discuss the inaccuracy, the scientific facts in Avatar.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's.
Yeah, right.
With Blood Drive, I guess, it's one of those things, like I have some of my friends and they ask me like, oh, what's the show about? And I was like, oh, combustion engines that run on blood. And they're like, because that's scientifically accurate. I was like, yeah, it could be, it could happen.
Could do it, right?
I actually love sci-fi. So like, to me, I really do not care if they take licenses with the science.
Of course not.
They're not posing as scientifically accurate. So I love it.
Yeah. Sci-fi is, it's the best. Like I'm a gigantic nerd. Right.
Movie?
I know.
What's your favorite, like sci-fi genre show or
anything
movie or anything?
ever? I mean, it's hard. That's like hard because you really honestly just. I want to just say Star Wars because it's like, how do we not just say Star Wars? But then there's like little bits and pieces that I can think of that are sort of like my favorite things for other reasons. Like I'm one of the people that I love Interstellar. I love that movie. Like a lot of people don't like that movie. They think it's too long and the fifth dimension stuff is too much. But like that stuff with the water planet, with like the mountains of waves and all that stuff, right? And the relativity stuff, that's all like amazing to me. But I mean, I'm just a nerd beyond science fiction. Like I play like Magic: The Gathering. It's this game from the 90s.
Me too.
You play Magic?
I do.
You
MTG.
don't really.
Oh yes, I do.
You actually play Magic?
I actually play Magic, and I love it. I actually have I'm not really good at building decks.
Okay.
But I have a couple of decks that friends have built for me.
Wow.
That I use, and I crush it with them. So but only with those decks. When I try and make my own, it's a mess. It's terrible.
Is it really possible that we like when I talked to you at the premiere and I was like, well, you should come on and do this thing, and you're like, oh, I'm a nerd. Like we really didn't talk about Magic then.
We didn't. We really didn't. How is that possible? Okay, we need to have some kind of a Magic tournament at some point.
Oh, I have a podcast. You should come on our Magic podcast.
I am
That's
so
the
in.
thing. Oh man,
so in.
So crazy. How did you get into Magic? Sorry, this is like not part of like the Your Story interview, but it kind of
no,
is.
it kind of is. I got into, I don't know how I got into Magic, but I started playing it, and then I have a lot of friends who are very, very good at it, and they have, again, they have like their 7 different decks and combinations and whatever, and then they have every single card. A friend of mine was also kind of commissioned to potentially direct the movie of Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah.
And so they sent him shipments of boxes of every single card ever made.
Wow.
And so that's kind of where I started getting hooked.
Crazy.
Yeah, but it's so good. It's such a fun game.
Best game ever. Yeah.
Best game ever.
Yeah.
Best game ever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what about you for science fiction? I mean, what's the thing? What's like the thing for you?
Honestly, I mean, I kind of would go back. I love Star Trek Next Gen.
Okay.
I love my snake is named Riker.
You have a snake. You just snuck that in there. Yeah.
I have a snake, and he's named Riker. I like Alien. I mean, I go back, and honestly, like everything has its own little magic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, and now Blood Drive, obviously.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing now. It's
Aliens, and I mentioned Cameron. Like he's kind of the master. I think like Avatar is good, and I'm somewhat excited for 2 through 5 or whatever are coming out. Like there's a lot of Avatar movies coming out, but I do this action movie podcast called Action Movie Anatomy every week.
How many podcasts
I do a bunch of podcasts, but this action movie, Alexis, our engineer, she's actually been on. She was on the Lethal Weapon episode. Are you there, Alexis? No? Love you, Alexis.
Hi, Alexis. Hi, guys.
Oh, hi, you're there. Yeah, we were talking about AMA, and I was reminiscing, talking about Officer Murtaugh, don't be foolish.
Lethal Weapon.
But Terminator 2, I think, is the greatest action movie of all time.
Yes.
And when you go back, the craziest thing is you mentioned Aliens. Like, if you go back and you watch that movie and you really think about, okay, this is all practical effects. So there's the scene when Ripley's like walking through the little like the den with all the eggs, and she's seeing the queen birthing the eggs.
Yeah.
She stops for a second and she's like, I can't walk out of here without just like killing everything. And it's just the creepiest, most grotesque looking stuff, and you're like, all of that is done practically.
Yeah.
It looks as good as almost anything out there today, and it's made 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the thing that blows my mind.
Do you think that CGI now and all that it's kind of a cop out?
Depends. Like, so obviously Fury Road, Mad Max, like that's unbelievable, and that's like those are some of the greatest effects ever, and the CGI, and that was just used to take out the explosions because they were too much.
Right.
That's all done practically. But when you get into sci-fi, I think it's like one of those things. You see the masters like Rian Johnson, who did Looper a few years ago. Looper's a great movie. Looper's done very, very well, and that movie was made for like $38 million. Like, you compare that to something like even T2 cost $100 million in 1991.
Yeah.
So I think you can do great things if you're creative. The movies I don't like are ones that rely so much on CGI. Like, if it's Cameron, it's different because like Cameron would know. He's like, all right, I'm making the choice to go full CGI because I have a reason. I created this technology for my movie. But I think
that's the thing, right? He's also using that to kind of further the tech side of things and develop the tools that are needed in order to create. I mean, like the 3D, and regardless of what you think of the movie and the story, which we've seen before, the technology and the 3D in it was impressive and amazing and
Groundbreaking
cutting
at the time.
edge. Exactly.
I think so I think it just depends who you are. You know, I would love to see guys that are like Rian Johnson, who are really doing things that are new and fresh and interesting, and they're combining CGI with some practical effects. I think that's really where the best things we see exist. What about you? I mean, are you impressed by CGI these days? Or?
I mean, I think at this point, I was looking at, speaking of Game of Thrones, for example, like some of the visual effects and the CGI used in the Battle of the Bastards, for example, is amazing. But you still have these like practical stunts that they're doing that are just unbelievable. Did you see that special, the clip afterwards?
No, I didn't. I keep hearing about it though. Now I feel like I have to have watched it.
You have to watch it. It's all about how they did the battle and how they had 80 horses stampeding towards Kit Harington at the time, and how he's like, I think people are gonna think it's CGI, and it's not. I was there.
Yeah.
And he's like upset because it almost looks like it's CGI just because of how impressive it is. I mean, I think if used sparingly or used extremely well, then absolutely. But we were raised on those practical effects. We were raised on Jaws. For me, it's Shark Week. So, hey, Jaws, is one of those movies. And then you have the new, I haven't seen The Shallows yet, but you also have, I don't know, what's the last shark movie that was?
I don't know. The Sharknado movies, maybe?
Deep Blue Sea. There's
Sure, yeah. Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea or something like that. I don't know. Sometimes it does take me out a little bit if it's not incredibly well done.
I've heard Independence Day Resurgence has its moments of kind of like head scratching. Like that's not. I haven't seen it yet. I'm watching it tomorrow morning because we're doing it on the show tomorrow. But
you are. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's so. Yeah, I'm with you as far as the effects go. But so we digress into.
Yes, we do.
Into all things nerdery. But so jumping back, so the Canary Islands, then you come here and you decide you're gonna go for the acting thing. I watched your short. You did this short. Stay with me, right?
Yes.
This was called. And so you wrote it. You came up with a story for it.
I came up with loosely came up with a concept, which is a man is in love with his wife's like sleepwalking alter ego.
Yeah.
And then I had a girlfriend at the time who was a writer. She wrote it, and we pulled it off in a week. Stephen Amell came on board, and he played my husband.
Stephen Amell of the Arrow fame, for the record.
For the further nerdery kind of the show, yes. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now.
Yep.
He came on board, and we had an amazing DP who was a friend of mine, Roman Jacoby, and he had done amazing things, and he kind of, he graced us with doing this as a favor,
right.
And which is why it looks so great. I kind of have moments where I still, looking back, it's like one of those things where you cringe sometimes when you see certain things, but we pulled it off in a week. And we did all sorts of things. I exchanged French lessons with the caterer so that he would cater the shoot. We just kind of got away with.
You speak French?
Yes, we just got away with asking favors and everything. And yes.
How many languages do you speak?
So, well, English is my second language. Okay. So I don't speak any of the others the way I speak English.
Okay.
But I speak Spanish, English, French, and some German and Catalan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Keep going. Proceed.
But that was it. It was a great experience because it was like filmmaking 101 in 1 week for the whole process. It was also my first producing job. It was the first thing I did production wise. So I got to see all the moving pieces. And that was great. It was a great experience.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. I didn't. The second half of it, I didn't see coming at all. It takes the turn, and then I was totally confused. I was like, what's going on? But I mean, I was engaged. It was good.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for watching it.
Yeah, of course. Got to do your research.
Exactly.
So then you do some stuff. You're on Modern Family, some bit parts here and there, and then you're on the show on El Rey with our buddy Johnny Cruz.
Yes, love Johnny. Johnny was one of my favorite parts of working on that show.
Matador is the show.
Matador is the show. It's the Robert Rodriguez. It's for El Rey Network. And that show was such a great experience because it was really my first time being a part of the family and kind of working as a series regular in the cast and being there all the time. And having those interactions, whereas Modern Family or all those bit parts, you come in for a day or the week or 3 days or whatever, and then you leave. You're not really a part of that family. So that was the first time, and we were all so excited about that show because most of us, except for Alfred Molina, who
amazing.
Dr. Ock, too.
Yeah.
Just to add more nerdery to this. He was our number one on the call sheet, and he was so graceful, and he was like the father of all of us because we were all relatively new and had never done, hefty roles like that before. and he was great. He actually, I still take to heart some of the advice that he gave us. I remember him saying, like, actors should never, ever complain.
Yeah.
That was like his number one motto. It was like, you cannot complain as an actor, because if you're cold and you're tired because you've been working for, 25 hours straight, there's somebody next to you that's worked for 35, that's twice as cold, that has to hold a boom mic or whatever, and that's getting paid a fraction of maybe what you're getting paid. And so you have no right to ever complain.
Alfred Molina, I just wanted to ask you about him because he's the man.
He's the man.
Boogie Nights and Magnolia are two of my favorite movies ever. Boogie Nights, arguably top 7 movies for me ever. Top 6, like right up there. Magnolia, also probably like top 10.
Yeah.
But he's just so good in both movies. Boogie Nights especially.
He's so good.
He's one of the great scenes, because his scene in Boogie Nights is like one of the great scenes of all time with the firecrackers. I asked Johnny about him too. I just like stories because I just love that guy. He's just. And
Johnny Cruz, by the way, he's a star. He's going to blow up, and he is going to be. I mean, I really do believe it. Like, he was so funny. He brought so much life to his character, and he stole the scenes. Like, I remember when I was, even watching my own scenes with him in it. I just watch him. I don't care. It's like I'm not even in the scene.
Right.
He's great. Yeah. Have you had him on the show? Is that
Johnny?
Yeah.
No. I wish. I wasn't here when Matador was on the air, and I'm waiting for Johnny to break out and star in something else. So.
Oh, he will.
I should just bring him in here just to sit down and talk to him.
Yeah.
But I know him so well.
Funniest show ever.
How do you interview people that you know everything about? You feel
I know.
Like, yeah. Maybe not. I guess I've never been like, Johnny, tell me your life story. What's your
call him out.
Yeah.
Like, remember that one time you told me that thing about this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. Cruz. He's a funny guy. So Matador, I guess there was a break there between that show getting canceled and Animal Kingdom, yeah?
Yeah, so we got picked up for Matador for season 2.
Yeah.
When we started airing, and so we all thought we were coming back for the next season. So we kind of missed a pilot season there in between a little bit. And then unfortunately, for budgetary reasons, our showrunners, kind of told us, like, listen, unfortunately, we're not going to actually go back for a season 2.
Yeah.
We're so sorry. We wish you guys the best, everything. And it was really sad. But again, we formed a family on that show.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice. And there was definitely a break for me there work-wise until Animal Kingdom, which is like a year and a half or something.
So this is the period of time where I found out who you were via someone's Instagram, just what I told you on the red carpet.
Yeah, and Naked and Afraid.
No idea how. I'm assuming it has something to do with Cruz, right? That's got to be because it's the Discover thing. Because if I followed like 1,200 people, then I would think that it was just because, you're just like a pretty girl on Instagram.
Yeah.
But that's not really my style. So anyway, so Naked and Afraid, this was like a thing that you got a bunch of, because when I was looking up your short today, there was like a Buzz 60, like, news in the world, Cristina Ochoa and her boyfriend are doing this. I was like, wow, this was news, apparently. Like, really...
So I started doing these really, these adventures on Instagram with my boyfriend at the time, and we just kind of came up with these little stories that we could tell in 10 pictures or less.
You guys, and because you're both actors, he was on a show,
We were both actors, and so we, just started doing these stories, and one of, I love Naked and Afraid. One of our favorite shows was Naked and Afraid. So we're like, we should do a parody on this, and instead of 21 days, do 21 hours out in the desert. So on my birthday, that's what I wanted to do. Like, that was, it's some girls want jewelry. I wanted to go to the desert and do Naked and Afraid.
Right.
So we actually took my snake and went out into the desert and created this little story where we were out in the desert. We had to build a shelter, and then we get attacked by a viperconda.
Wow.
And then I used their logo. I used Discovery's logo for Naked and Afraid on my pictures. And they called me up, and I was so scared that they were going to sue me for using their, like IP or doing something. And then it was just like, no, do you want to come on the show? We think it's great. We love the parody. We thought it was hilarious. Do you want to come on the show? And I was like, I just sighed relief.
So that's fascinating, because obviously, and that got some buzz. I mean, people were talking about it.
I had people texting me going like, are you on Naked and Afraid? Random people that didn't follow me or that didn't.
Did you experience like a little bit of a social media spike because of it? Like, people, no?
Probably. I don't remember at the time so much. I just remember having contacts that I hadn't heard from a couple of years suddenly texting me like, "Are you on Naked and Afraid?"
Weird, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. It's such like an important lesson too, because in this industry that we're in now, where everything is like so saturated and spread out, and digital has just kind of crept in, and it's hard to really know what's legitimate, what pays well. Like, you can create your own opportunities by just being creative, which is kind of what it sounds like you were being. Like, this just sounds like a fun thing to do.
Yes.
And then people notice. You never know who's watching.
I mean, right now there is such a boom of people creating their own content, which is amazing because it's kind of taking you take the opportunities and you create them and you take the power into your own hands, basically.
Right.
So I have friends who do viral videos. Speaking of Johnny, like he does, a lot of stuff sometimes on social media with like little funny videos.
Yeah.
On Matador, Nikki, like she, has taken to making funny videos with her fiance, and those go viral.
Right.
And new opportunities come because of it. I don't personally have any stories like that, but I know of a lot of people that have gotten shows because of videos that they're creating online. They become internet sensations, and suddenly they're given opportunities.
So now you had some shows you were doing, or you had the Psy, what was it called? It was like what's that?
I had a podcast.
You had the podcast. You had the science podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit.
So my podcast was called No Brainer.
Okay.
KNOW.
Oh, clever.
Brainer.
Yeah, it's good.
It was like a little. It was cute. And I started to do it as a way of engaging in conversations that I found really interesting. I'm very lucky that I have amazing friends, but like you said, sometimes you sit down with somebody that you already know so well and you don't really delve into what they find fascinating or interesting or don't know as much about them. So the premise was that my guest would bring in 3 catalysts.
Okay.
That would spark conversation.
Right.
And the catalyst could be anything. It could be a quote. It could be a research paper. It could be a news article.
Yeah.
It could be a concept that they wanted. So I had scientists coming in and talking about, the monogamy,
right,
or the uncanny valley, or, a quote or a song or an art piece. And then it was some of the best conversations I've had with my friends.
Yeah, right.
It's like the cocktail conversations that you have at 2 a.m. when you like have talked about life and death and money and this and it's I loved it. So it was really fun.
And was Sirens, was that something you were doing at one point?
Yeah, I was a part of a group called Sirens, and they are Scienthusiastic is the word that we use.
Scienthusiastic.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. So we were just really excited about science and STEM concepts, and we all got together and banded together, and it's something that is very dear to my heart. They are very, very good friends of mine. The reason I'm no longer in Sirens is merely because of all the workload that Animal Kingdom and Blood Drive have now brought my way, and I just could not, I was spreading myself thin and I wasn't carrying my weight in this group. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna bow out, but
you weren't scienthusiastic enough anymore.
I wasn't scienthusiastic enough. No.
Okay.
No.
It's good. Amazing. I feel like I know so much, and there's so many more questions I want to ask you, but mostly just about science stuff, so we'll have to save it for part 2. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you with Blood Drive, with Animal Kingdom.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait to go watch the show. We get to watch it in just a few minutes here.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming and talking to us on AfterBuzz TV.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Is there any people you want to plug anything right now?
No, guys, just please watch Animal Kingdom on TNT Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And just tweet us. The cast is very engaged with their fans, so just go ahead and send everybody your comments and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Tune into the Animal Kingdom After Show in like an hour.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.